Hello and welcome to the Come Alive podcast. I'm your host, Mehermir Chandani. I'm a mother with a story, a business leader with a vision, and a leadership coach with a mission to transform lives and businesses. I am dedicated to empowering 10x growth in fellow humans by unlocking the transformative power of self-connection. I'm happy to announce a unique collaboration with YPO MENA and Regal called Every Journey Has a Story to Tell. It's a 24-episode podcast series of inspiring YPO members. If you'd like to be on the show, please do reach out to me and I'd love to host you. So today I have with me Vikram Shroff. He's the managing director of the Regal group of companies and plays a pivotal role in companies' continued success. From their origins in textiles to expansion into technology and real estate development, Regal Group's growth has been nothing short of remarkable. Beyond business, Vikram has a beautiful family and is deeply committed to giving back to the community. So welcome, Vikram. I'm super excited to go deep on this episode with you.
Thank you, Meher. Thank you for having me.
So it's a beautiful family business, and we all know about the success that your father had when he arrived in UAE. And I have personally read his book and been so inspired. So let's start with telling me more about when you joined the family business. And I do know you have an elder brother, Raju, who was taking care of the business.
That's
so I'd love to know, how did you integrate yourself into the business?
So, as you must have read in the book, my father started the business in 1952 with his two elder brothers. But he was in the forefront in marketing and sales, pushed the business to next heights, and my brother joined in the early 80s. And he has the same characteristics and personality as my father. He was hands-on, took the textile business to the next level. I joined around 97 after college, and my father said, you must come back because Dubai was just picking up at that time. There's a lot of opportunities. And I came back and I helped the family. I helped my brother grow the textile business, but my calling was actually outside the textile field, as he was doing a good job managing that. We had other businesses where we were not paying too much attention, or we could have paid more attention. So I spent a couple of years running it's a famous Indian brand called Quality Ice Cream. Helped fix that, turn it around and actually sell it. So that was my first mini M&A experience. And came back to the textile business. But again, we had other businesses outside, such as technology, and helped to grow that before really settling down into this real estate development business, which has become quite big for us.
Amazing. So did you ever work with him initially? How was it reporting to your brother instead of your father?
Yeah, so the age gap between Raju, my elder brother, and me is about 10 years. So by default, funny story is my father had a small welcoming party for me when I graduated. And it was on the top of the Trade Center back in the day when there was nothing around. And he said, meet my managing director, Raju, and damaging director, Vikram.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and with what mindset did he say that?
No, he always jokes because, he, as a person, his persona, he's helped solve a lot of family disputes in Dubai for many years.
Yes.
And he had this conviction that you cannot live and work together, A. And B, if you don't sort out your issues in black and white or by talking well in advance, things are just going to fall apart. And it's a big statistic around YPO families and worldwide that third generation businesses fail. Mm-hmm. The probability of success of third generation is in single digits. Mm. And there is a reason for that. When the first generation is so busy making money, putting their head down, doesn't know where they're going to earn their income next month, next week, next day. Second generation tag along because they see their father and mother work so hard. They're also working together. They grew up together. Third generation probably lived in different houses, different mentality, different mindset. Mm. So it's very important, according to my father, that when you split the roles and responsibilities, you do for the common good, but you do different things. So I never worked with my father because he actually, I would say retired the day I joined. And then my brother and I worked together, but in very different roles and responsibilities because I would say, I wish he was here, but
Yeah, he was supposed to be here.
yin and yang, where,
Yeah.
you would say that opposites attract, and he's much more creative, much more macro, loves a visionary approach, where for me, I like to get it done. So I want to make sure I connect the dots and get it done. So that works as same team, but we have different offices, we have different ways of working. But as long as, the common goal is there, it works.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So,
And you know that, Meher, because you have a sibling also, so
Yes.
we can relate to family businesses and how to grow it.
no, absolutely, and that's why it's so interesting because I work in a family business with my brother,
Yeah.
and though so different, like we're so different,
Right.
but yes, we have complementary traits and complementary strengths that really help us. Like what is my strength is probably his weakness,
Yeah.
and what is his weakness is my strength, and that's what I guess helps us work together better and towards a common goal. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So the vision that was held for the business, which probably Raju had created because dad had started taking
Yeah.
a back seat. So were you aligned with the vision as well, or were they immense? Did you make changes? So how was it? Was it challenging initially to start reworking with Raju, or work on the mission?
Yeah.
towards
So,
the business?
hats off to organization like YPO and EO. They forced me, and my favorite quotation is to really learn, unlearn, relearn. I don't think we had a vision back then. My father was just doing what he knew, what was comfortable to him, and growing it day by day, week by week, month by month. You'd have yearly budgets, yearly targets. It's when you sit back and say, okay, we've been successful to this level. Now, where do we redeploy the profits? How do we grow? Do we go crazy and invest in many companies, which we did and lost sort of money? Do we focus on our existing business? Does the market allow for that? Do we grow geographically? Do we grow vertically? Or do we look at completely something totally different? So these are the old things families make mistakes when they don't sit down and have a business plan, and more than a business plan, a vision plan. And I think the last 10 years, we've been working towards a vision plan, both top down and bottom up. Do we want to be a retailer with 2,000 stores around the GCC? The answer is no. We rather put more money in a single asset and grow it and keep our reputation and our core values of, what we promise we deliver. And that turned out to be real estate in the luxury segment. And we just kept growing from there.
But how did you make that shift? Like, how is it that you got to probably even include your dad into the vision?
Yeah.
Because, for him, textiles must be close to his heart, right?
That's right.
Because that's what gave him the first success, the name and the recognition in UAE.
Yeah.
And sometimes what I felt, especially in my family business, was very difficult for dad to shut down his garment manufacturing business and move completely. Though he was very organic, it was very organic, this move, and he was happy to do something in UAE because he was in love with UAE. But it was difficult
That's right.
to make that shift and, to put a hold on some business. And I've done it in my journey. I put a hold to my fashion business and immersed myself into the family business completely. And it's challenging. So how did that happen?
So I've learned the hard way, the only constant is change. And our fathers are entrepreneurs. They think with their heart, their gut. As we evolve, even Raju is very much of an entrepreneur. It's when you start putting in your investment mindset, is this worth it? Are we going to get the returns? Does the family want this? Do you see the next generation doing what we're doing? And if you start asking those questions with external consultants, you cannot do everything yourself because the mindset and the courses and the programs and the learning events we do in YPO and EO, they help us think outside the box, challenge our minds, ask the right questions, having our peers. And I remember Raju having a lot of networking lunches with his peers, asking questions. What have you done? What worked? What didn't work? I would go out and meet with professionals and ask them, how can you help us? Set up a constitution. what a family's done that worked, not worked, and trial and error. As you know, in entrepreneurship, you have to keep trying. Some work, some doesn't work. As long as that top goal is the same, you got to get there somehow. But the vision is very important. Otherwise, what happens, I've seen a lot of families, especially families in their 2.5 generation, completely lost. They made all this money, but they don't know what to do with it. So you can earn that money, you can reinvest it, but then you have to also learn where to redeploy it in a proper manner so that you're not 60, 70 years old, 80 years old saying, oh my God, what kind of mess have I got myself into if I don't even enjoy it?
Absolutely.
So what is that wealth worth for you then?
Absolutely, absolutely. But were you all aligned from the very beginning? Like, I know that Raju is also in YPO. He founded EO actually.
Yes.
So because of the learning that he had and the exposure that he had, were you all aligned from the very beginning, or there were always...
Always. I mean, till today,
changes
they're
and
very
challenges?
healthy arguments. And,
Okay.
that's good because you're not complacent. 10 years ago, I think we got a windfall and we decided what else to do because textile is still a really important segment or part of Regal, but it's not growing as much as other industries. So we put a lot of time, effort, and money behind that. Regal is really a passionate but a profitable unit for us. But we had, we sat back and said, okay, what else? Because we were growing at double-digit returns for the longest time. And when that slowed down, that entrepreneurial kick came in, what else? And we went and invested in a couple of different businesses. Looking back, that was a bad mistake because the time, energy, and opportunity cost that we lost, we could have redeployed somewhere else. But the learnings were, stick at what you are good at, do few things well, and honestly, don't take too many opinions. A lot of people go out and ask, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? I see that sometimes it confuses you, makes you doubt yourself. I think you know yourself better.
Yes.
I mean, you're a coach.
Yes.
So it's very important to, understand your strengths,
Yes.
focus on that, and your weaknesses can be taken care of, but keep doing that. And end of the day, every night, every month, look back and say, what have you done? Just like how we do in forums and reflect 30 and 60 days. We should be able to do that in our businesses, just ourselves. What have we done? What have we achieved? What we're going to do? And is that giving you satisfaction? I'm not talking about only profits, but actually you're seeing you're going
Enjoying
towards
the
your
journey
goal. Absolutely.
and-
Enjoying the
and,
journey
yeah.
towards the right way to the journey.
Correct.
So you don't wake up one day, what they call midlife crisis, that
Yeah.
where am I? What did I do?
Yeah, correct. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of reflection. And I do that, and we do that in forums, of course. And so how was it getting, you mentioned that you got a lot of consultants also
Yeah.
on board. So how was that? Were you both open to getting consultants? Because I know also in family business, this is a challenge.
Yeah.
That it's difficult to convince the first generation that, we need to employ this kind of money or deploy this kind of money to get outside resources, to get a board, or to get the right consultants and the right mentors or whoever it is on the board so they can help us achieve our vision. So how was that for you?
Luckily, both of us, because we're relatively young in our second generation business, we were open to that. We tried. I think finding the right consultant for your culture also makes a big difference. You can bring in the smartest brains, but if he doesn't gel with your team,
Absolutely.
your culture, your family values, it doesn't work. So
Yes.
don't give up. I think we're going through that phase again. We found a very good consultant to help certain segments of our business take it to the next level. Because you have to understand, entrepreneurs also get tired. As you age, as you have different priorities, you might neglect unknowingly certain businesses. When you bring in fresh blood, whether it's the third generation, professionals or consultants, all they're helping to do is bring another set of eyes and attacking problems on how to grow your business. So as long as the focus is the business should grow, come what may, in a proper systematic manner, then I think sometimes if the same person's around for too long, they become the bottleneck. So I'm always looking how to replace myself properly, becoming more on the business than in the business. And this is a topic we have in forums all the time because of
Yes.
time management.
Yes.
And for me, personally, I like to be in that, as you say, if you're swimming in the sea, you put your head down for a bit and then go up.
Yes.
I like to be in that zone where I'm always on top, looking what's coming, what's happening. But put your head down also to see what's going on in your own business. So you cannot be totally macro and totally micro. You got to find that balance,
Right
build that
balance.
team. And this strategy, this thought process has come from my father from the 60s. Because back then people had 2 or 3 stores. He grew it to 20, 30 outlets. And he used to give percentage of profits and leadership roles and responsibilities to his managers back then. So it was always inherent to us that if you want to grow, you have to give the authority, bring the right people in. They were different caliber of people, but they were good people. They did their job,
Yeah.
which funneled back into that top co, which is important to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you say consultants, is it outside people on project basis, or is it people you hire for a certain amount of time? Like I know we have a great team now with the CFO and the portfolio manager, and with GFH as our partner, we have the managing director for the fund. So we do have people who are experts.
Right.
So when you say consultant, what?
Both. So hiring the right people, next level,
Okay.
making sure that thought process trickles down to the other people, but then having accountability and have a consultant like a buddy,
Okay.
showing the ways, talking about best practices, doing KPI performances and saying, okay, we can do better. We, not you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like a team. And then when they sit with people like with me and my brother, we're working as a team so they don't feel that they're being put in a corner. So there's a YPO program happening very shortly. It's leadership, Stanford professor. I've signed up with me and my team guys, my team members. We're going to go together. We're going to do the case studies together. We're going to try. My goal there is to really hone my new CEO who we just promoted and the CFO to think differently.
Yeah.
That how can what's happening across the world, if you just pick up 1 or 2 things and redeploy it into our textile business, which is very traditional, doesn't matter. In business, as we've seen, the commonalities are a lot.
Yes.
Sales is sales, marketing, HR, finance, and organizational behavior, your culture. You can set, you can run, you can motivate. I cannot parachute somebody else and say, fix that.
Yeah. So what really inspires me is also when I read the book is Dad came from very humble beginnings,
Right.
with very less exposure, very less education.
Yeah.
How did he empower both of you to be so exposed, so well educated? Like Raju also went to the best university in the world, and so did you. What was that in him that made you strive for more, made you like such better versions of, himself probably? Like he wanted you all to be everything that he could probably not achieve at his time.
Right.
So I really want to know that.
So, I think for Raju and myself, and I'll speak on his behalf, we really look up to him. Not because he's our father. He has done stuff with the community, to the community, for us that he didn't have to. His humility, every time we went to meetings and just sat there, the questions he would ask, even though he doesn't know about a topic, he would just keep asking for his learning growth, and then turn around and look at me and says, I don't know what he said. But he would just say it with such...
He was curious always
very
to learn
curious,
more.
and he would say, I don't understand. So he always said it's okay to fail, it's okay to ask questions. He's a very outgoing person. He'll have totally yin-yang type friends. Some people would be total introverts, but he would talk to them, meet with them, and just learn. So when we saw him growing up, learning with different people all the time, and for us, family business means we had business happening on the table, in the shop, in the car. There was no weekends. We would have clients, customers, suppliers coming to our house for lunch, dinner, breakfast. We were constantly surrounded by people. And I lived in an extended family house with uncles, aunts, kids. So there was always chaos and noise around me. We were always learning. Always on the dinner table, there was some other supplier or customer or person who's trying to do good for the community. And his mantra was just learn, listen. You don't agree. Just listen and learn what this guy is trying to get across his message.
So he was always of that mindset that learning is very important.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I guess that's what pushed you all to join EO, YPO,
Yes.
start, in fact, EO and YPO for Raju.
Yes.
And be that kind of on that journey of learning always.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Also in his book, he wrote about the incident that your family went through, which is the death of your sister.
Right.
And that really broke him down.
Yeah.
How did the family take this?
It was really painful because he was like the lion in our family. And for him to break down, don't expect these things. You don't wish or honor anybody. He didn't say give up, but he just did a U-turn. Money was not important to him. Fame, fortune. He was doing what he was doing because of the love of work and also for providing for the family. But for him, he had no desire to go into work and do something else. He always was a charitable man giving back to society. That made him go 10x into that field because he just felt, and we can always talk about this later, giving. Yeah, I think giving without any expectation is really the highest form in entrepreneurship, I feel, because you could keep growing, keep making money and buying that third and fourth car. But he found peace in helping others and doing stuff. As a family, we had to take over. I grew up overnight because I had to take care of myself because my mother and father were just not in the right mindset.
And how old were you then?
I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And Raju was about 24. So he had to basically take over the whole business himself.
Yes, that's what he writes in the book actually. Overnight,
Yeah, overnight.
Dad could not,
No,
like,
not at
he
all.
was just, for a long time, he was in his own silent
Yes.
mode because he could not accept what happened with him.
Absolutely. So it was very painful. There's no book or consultant or thought that can train you or teach you for that. You just have to live through it. But hats off to him today. If you see him, he's still running around the world, mostly India, doing his thing. And we all are trying to earn, not just for profits, but we love it when we can give a part of our earnings to him, not for his own use. He turns around and does fantastic charitable causes in India without even us knowing, because his mantra is the left hand doesn't have to know what the right hand's doing in charity.
Yes.
And that gives me the motivation to keep doing what I'm doing.
Amazing. Is that the big why of your business? Like how Simon Sinek says that, there has to be a why which is greater than yourself, greater than your business. So have you and Raju made it like your why to be able to do community service because you are at the forefront with the new Hindu temple that you have also started in Dubai, which is a great service to the entire community. So tell me a little bit about your why of the business.
My father always had this dream that I want to build a new temple because the Dubai temple was getting very old, very congested. And Raju took it upon himself to build this temple from scratch during COVID. So as you can see, he has that in him to grow. I help out in any way possible with whether it's the India Club or the school or any organization my father has put time in and says is good for the community. It's very important to give back. I think that time you give back, you learn a lot. So you improve yourself, you give back to community, and it helps you with your time management also. So it's a win-win. If I were to be selfish, actually giving back makes you a better person every way.
It is, but isn't it also a dilemma always that, what percentage of profits? I know a lot of the communities do like a percentage of their profits they give away, and then sometimes you feel, should we give so much, should we not? So how do you as a family decide on, yes, this is like, and all of you are involved, I know, from your wife Divina to Simran, Raju's wife, to Raju, to you, to your parents. You all are so involved in community service, making sure that everything is perfect, it's being served well, and it looks beautiful every time you go. So there's a lot that goes into managing this.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this, and how do you manage this whole as a family?
So what I've seen in the Hindu temple, it's being run like a company. You have sales, you have cost of sales, you have marketing, you have HR. Because the whole goal of community projects is servant leadership, just like YPO. You might be chapter chair this year, but then you're done next year. It's what you leave behind, what systems and processes, so that the next generation looks back and says, Vikram Shroff and his children helped do this. Helped. They didn't do this. It's not theirs. It's part of the community, for the community, by the community.
So does it have a board as well?
It has a board.
Okay.
It's run like a company.
Okay.
It's audited.
Okay.
You have KPIs, you have internal auditors, external auditors, all that. Because the whole idea, Meher, is to leave behind a legacy that the Regal family or the Shroff family or Vikram Shroff's children added value. So you have to use your same entrepreneurial business mindset and you can put it to community services with KPI. A lot of people say charity is just giving money. But how do you measure that? How do you make sure ABC was achieved in the minimal amount of money, but the biggest impact. That requires our business skill set over the years on what happens. Writing a check is very easy.
Yeah.
You know, my father could have done that and said done. But he is still being 84, flying back from Mumbai today. Went to work on a project of deaf girls in where we come from, to make sure that the instruments have arrived on time, they work properly, what's the warranty with the supplier, what happens if something breaks down, to that level. And it gives us a lot of encouragement. I'll give you a small story. When you talk about percentage, it was COVID. It was very hard for him because my father travels to India very often for his give back trips. He likes to start a project, assign people, then he'll go and show up. He'll just show up and say, what's happening, show me what's going on. When is it going to be done? What's happening? So during COVID, of course, all the flights have stopped. And we told him, because our business is customer facing, whether it's real estate, hotels, textile shops. So our revenue went to zero. So we told my dad, you need to hold back a bit because we don't know where our business is going, when Dubai will open up. And he put on Zoom, and he was building a crematorium in India over Zoom because they needed that. And he said, so you are telling me to tell that guy, please don't die this year because I can't fund you. Please wait till next year. He's like, life doesn't work that way. You seize the opportunity. If you can afford it, you do it. So that gave me a little bit of a light bulb that, you know, everything cannot be planned. And I'm quite a planned person, but, you know, life throws you a lot of curveballs and you manage. He managed. He came with nothing. He didn't have options to do A, B, or C. He just did it. So when he looks back, and he misses those times, you know, when you say we have all the luxury in the world today in Dubai, he actually misses the simplistic times where you would just keep your head down, work hard, and the community was small and giving, and then it grew from there.
And how do you cultivate this mindset of giving, the value of giving into the third generation, which are your children,
Yeah.
Raju's children? How do you do that as a family?
So I truly believe in monkey see, monkey do. You don't just...
Actions speak louder than words.
Totally. I mean, I can talk about it all, but every year I take a week off with my wife and kids and the grandparents, and we go for what you call in Hindi yatra, or a trip to different parts of India to give back. You know, if a trip takes 4 hours, it takes with my father 9 hours because we stop every kilometer to give blankets to people on the road, all the way to go to a religious place. It doesn't matter. It can be a mosque, church, or temple, to do some seva, which means service,
Yes.
on the way with the kids. And they see that they've been doing this since they're very small. So they're used to it. They call it the seva trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So
that's a value you have cultivated in your children, and
yeah,
that just happens
multi-purpose. They spend time with the grandparents. They see what they're doing. They walk the talk. And they come back happy. And they see how blessed we are living in the UAE and what's happening in India. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to give charity. It's the way we do it and the way you follow up.
Absolutely.
So that it's you know, the whole story about you tell a man to fish versus giving him fish. So it's very important. One of the first projects I did with my father when I was 16 or 17 is buying sewing machines for all these ladies so they could become independent and do the garment stitching so they could sell it for a profit.
That's beautiful.
And till today, that has grown and grown.
So that is a way of life for you. I mean, it just
Absolutely.
seems like you've in these few minutes you've told me so many stories already. So it is
Yeah.
such a beautiful way of life, and to
Yeah.
make that time and energy, and to have that headspace to be able to keep doing this.
Yeah. Well, when
It
I'm
really
80,
takes-
Meher, I think I would, and I've watched a lot of YPO events where the best learners I've learned from, the best speakers I've told storytellers. When you're 80 or 90 years old, you can give fascinating stories. That's much better than textbook. I made this much, I lost this much, this is what I did. If you have interesting stories that happened to you, around you, I think that makes life very meaningful, very rich.
Absolutely. So personally, me and Anand also really believe in giving back.
Yeah.
And what I keep telling my husband Anand is that I feel the mission of my kids, my twin girls, is to give back a lot as well. And but I don't know. I mean, of course, we also go on a yearly trip to our Guruji.
Sure.
But I don't know how would it be to be able to tell them that this much time or this much percent of your time you have to um, basically set aside for humanity or
Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm doing my bit by spreading the awareness of self-love, removing a lot of time from my business and coaching individuals and companies to be able to understand and become aware of self-connection,
Yeah.
relationship with self. I am doing that and I'm living that. And like we said, that actions speak louder than words. They see us. But are you still like, doubtful that will they do what you really want them to do? Like sometimes I get a doubt, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
ki, am I doing the right thing? Are they understanding what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like things like that. So how do you do it? I mean, if there is a way.
I don't think there's any right way, Mary. You're doing the best you can. Again, just to use a line is not monkey see, monkey do, but you are who you hang out with. So again, coming back to my father, when I used to go to his office, he comes to the office still. He doesn't work, but he's just there for charitable causes, helping people who are having marital issues, divorces, people getting people together. He's always in between. I asked him, why do you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it tiring that you just sit and listen to problems and issues? And he looks at me and says, you do not immerse yourself with them. You're trying to help. And if you can help one soul out, you've done your job.
Correct.
And that really got to me. And over the years, when any of our YPO friends reach out to me, I make it a point to meet up with them just to listen. And they think I'm helping them. And actually, I'm helping myself because I learn a lot. Just like how you're doing these podcasts. I'm sure you learn a lot too.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're doing a great service for YPO, but you're learning a lot too. So when they see mom or dad doing that, inviting them in if the other person allows, just being in that atmosphere regularly rather than just telling them you have to spend 1 hour a day on give back. That's like going to school. You have to do this. It eventually has to come naturally.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean to go to any country in the world to do it. They can help a friend out who is in trouble or sad, or somebody else in the household or in school. Those small things, I think, add up over time.
Absolutely.
So give
And-
back is not just money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Kindness, time, love, and everything. No, that's beautiful. But it's nice to know also that how you incorporate it in your lifestyle and in your life. So I've always seen you and Raju very involved with YPO as well. I want to know, what does YPO give you?
Oh wow, YPO, I mean, it's given me a lot, from the peer network to the learning, to the confidence, to the chance to serve on boards, do day chairing. See, in your own business, you're your own boss. Very difficult to get authentic, constructive criticism back from your team. Whereas in YPO, because of the setup of forum, you can really talk about what you've done, what's happening, and shared experiences, so you can learn from others that you're not alone. That mistake you made, many of other people have done it. The success you've done, there's then also successes. So makes you a little more humble, but at the same time open up more, which, in traditional family businesses, you kind of close up. You just keep treading along. Here, if you can open up without any judgment, I think that's the best part of YPO, is this forum which we were exposed to, and also openly discussing with your 8-9 forum buddies on anything and everything. And the chance to serve. Again, that's a different type of serving when you go on the board or day chair or forum moderator. These are all give backs in a different way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And both of you spend a lot of time in YPO and do serve on several boards as well.
Absolutely. But again, I know it sounds funny, but I'm being selfish, because when I do that, I learn more. So giving the time back, the little nuggets I get after I'm doing forum chair this year, just learning how to understand people, what they want, how to put people together. I haven't done that before. So it's really interesting for me. I'm learning, I'm making mistakes. But by the end of the year, I'm going to add this, hopefully, this extra trait to me that I can judge people in groups. I can apply that back in my business or in my family that who work together, and take it forward the rest of my life.
Absolutely. It's lovely. And I've also always been inspired by the way the entire family actually conducts themselves as a unit, and also you have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
Amazing business legacy that you are living, not only want to leave. How do you do it all? I love to ask this question. I love this question. I want to know, how do you do it all?
Yeah, as you know, Mary, you're very spiritual. There has to be a master plan.
Yeah.
So I really, again, I come back to my father, and I know I could refer to him a lot.
And that's beautiful, Vikram, actually.
Yeah, because
I mean, he's been on our podcast today, even though he's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love this.
Absolutely. Last year, my brother and I wanted to buy him a fancy car. And he said, how much did it cost? We said, this much. He's like, give me that money, I'll do something. I know that do something is going to
Is, of
do
course,
something.
service.
But for him, whether it's a fancy German car or Honda, whatever's ready there, he'll take it. Of course, he prefers the bigger car. He jokes because I'm big, so I have to bigger car. But getting point A to point B. So if the lesson learned there is, if you just put your head down and say, you got to get to point A to point B, there's a master plan. There's going to be curveballs through you. It's not how you challenge the curveball. You have to do that as a business owner. But also the learning, so that you can start accepting and working on the next challenge and not letting it put you down. Dubai has been through. I mean, Dubai is like one big challenge. There's been ups and downs for both our families for the last 20, 25 years.
Absolutely.
Issues, market going down, stock market crashes, real estate correcting. You just got to manage, you got to pivot, you got to adjust, and you have to keep moving forward. Capture the opportunity, take it forward. So
what drives you every single day?
But what drives me is I wake up in the morning and say, how can I build the best team that I can? I love to see my team members thrive.
I love that too.
Just to see them do their best, enjoy it, make good money, put their kids through school, learn, build that trust and respect around me. I think it's so, that really gives me that kick to take it to the next level. I mean, people say, how's making a building? The making a building is stakeholders of thousands of people.
Yeah.
You have designers, contractors, consultants. End of the day, it's like baking a pie, you know? And who's the chef? I don't know. At least here, you know who the chef is. Sometimes I sit back and say, this building was made and my contribution was very little, because it's really a team effort.
Absolutely. So you said that you love building people.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming you must be the person of contact to be dealing with all those people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think...
and what are Raju's strengths?
Raju is a visionary. He can look on a map and in his mind develop it, you know, what can be there. And I think for me, it's really poking holes in the business plan, not negatively, but just securing ourselves. Because where the bad part about growing as a family business is, the more you grow, the more risk averse you become. The problem of becoming too risk averse is that you are demotivating the next generation. At the same time, you're going into your comfort zone, and then some red flags you will either miss or you will miss opportunities. So you have to always be challenging yourself, but in a very sized manner. I know people, unfortunately, who in their 70s take big bets, and they didn't have to, but now they're back 10 steps. But at the same time, as entrepreneurs, you cannot say, I'm going to do nothing. So it's that balance, like life, work-life balance, all that stuff. It's balancing what you want, what is your comfort, but don't get too comfortable. How can you sleep well at night but keep growing?
I love that.
And how do you
yes.
motivate people around you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what is the relationship you hold with yourself? Because all the positivity that you have been able to exude, and of course I can always see it in your energy, what is it that, you know, how do you cultivate a great relationship with yourself? Because the relationship we have with ourselves determines the quality of every other relationship we hold. And, you know, I speak about this self-love, self-connection. So tell me, how do you do that for yourself as an entrepreneur, family man, or somebody who serves the community and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, in YPO, we serve on community boards, and sometimes things go wrong and you're held accountable. So the lesson learned is you got to try your best with the right intentions. So what I've learned is I really judge people by their intentions. If their intention is good and things go wrong, let's move on.
And you do that for yourself?
And I do that for myself. I have to tell myself, I didn't mean it. I tried my best. This happened. Let's move on. I cannot beat myself up too much because I need to keep moving ahead. So really, intention matters to me a lot.
As
And
long
I tell
as,
my kids that.
and that's said in the Bhagavad Gita as well,
That's
right?
right. That's
It
right.
says that as long as you do the right thing with the right intention, then the outcome is anyways on the creator.
Totally. Totally. Then it's up to your karma and, boomerang effect. So it's intentions, everything for me.
And you were saying something about your children.
No, I try to teach them that, if they don't do well in school or something in sports, I said, did you put in the 100%? What else can you do? Sometimes entrepreneurs, COVID hit, everything shut down. And we opened the hotel 2 months before COVID,
Yes, I remember that.
right?
Yeah.
With very little experience, we're standing on top of the hotel, empty rooms with a bunch of staff, all looking to us what's going to happen. What do you tell them?
And it did slow down for you, right? Because you did mention it to us. Even the leasing of the house, everything slowed down.
Everything.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a ripple effect. So it's like stuff you can never imagine or plan. No business school can teach you this. But you pivoted, you managed, you handle the situation the best you can. And you would go home every night and say, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I've done the best I can. Now we leave it to the guy upstairs.
Amazing. And now with the third generation come in, Arshia and
Krish.
Krish, sorry. Arsha and Krish have joined the business.
Mhm.
And your kids are almost getting ready.
Yeah.
So what's the legacy? What's the vision that you want to have for them?
I think, Raju's kids are much older and both of them well educated, went to great universities, worked, and are back in Dubai now. And they're not kids, but I call them good kids. I see they have all the values their grandfather instilled upon them by actions. They do. I can see that. Motivating them to continue running the business in the style we have done so is going to be a challenge because everybody comes with their own ideas. And the whole idea is how do you step back so they can do their thing, but at the same time safeguard the overarching core values.
Correct.
Trust, integrity, intentions, hard work. Because even though we could, you will not see Raju and myself just sitting back and letting people do business. We love when people do business, but we're watching them, helping them, mentoring them, because end of the day, it's our capital too. It's our guarantees. And it's our face to all our stakeholders, whether it's the customer, the banks, whoever, the government.
So you and Raju are like coaches and mentors to them.
I think so. Not
And you
just to
wanna
them.
watch and,
Not just them. I think
but
to
to
all
the
our
entire
senior
team.
team that they should treat us like a coach, a member of the team. But I can't afford them to just fully fail. And I keep telling them that. Take chances, but measured chances so that we can manage it.
Amazing, amazing. And what is the legacy you want to leave in the world?
Oh, that's a really big question. Listen, after what my father has achieved, how my brother took over, I don't think I can go and match or beat them. But if I could just leave emotions behind in terms of I came into this world, added value before leaving, in whatever way is possible, I'll be grateful and humbled. So, I don't want my family members to ever do anything which will spoil our name unintentionally. That would be a blessing, because otherwise you just go with the plan, keep growing, keep your head down. And I really think humility is the name of the game, especially with families which are second, third generation. If you start thinking you've made it and you've done this, you've done that, I've seen other fourth and fifth generation families not around because of that. So the legacy of working hard, keeping your head down, and taking it step by step, but having a grand plan so that you know where you're going, that would be great.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you, Meher.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Come Alive podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on whichever platform you're hearing it. Would love to hear your thoughts and comments. And until next time, see you soon.